All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. So, Jonathan Cain just spoke to a couple of different rock publications. Um, One where he basically talks about how Narada Michael Walden didn't pan out. Those were his words. And again, that's in reference to the live touring. Um, I think there was at least one gig, maybe two gigs, where it was Narada and Deen Castronovo, and they actually toyed with the idea of having the two drummers. I don't think Journey needs two drummers. I mean, they're not the Doobie Brothers from like the 1970s. You know what I mean? I think one drummer is probably enough in this band. And again, Deen knows this material. In fact, John Cain says there are only a few cats on the planet who know all of the little nuances when it comes to drums. Obviously, Steve Smith is one of those guys, and then Deen Castronovo. And Deen just, again, is a superb singer. According to Cain, he says his voice is fantastic, and we're glad to have him back. Of course, the article has to reference when Deen left the band back in 2015. And then again, they have to talk about having Deen having back surgery in 2021. So they like to keep rehashing a lot of stuff with Deen Castronovo, and I kind of wish they would just knock it off. I just wish they'd, it just, look, where's Randy Jackson? I think that would be a bigger thing to focus on. No questions really about Randy. I'm guessing that Randy just didn't want to be a part of the touring band. Allegedly, Randy and both Narada are playing on this new album. So we'll get to, hear what that sounds like. I think it would have been cool if Deen was in on the recording sessions, and he may have been. Deen may have been a part of the recording sessions, and my guess is they'll probably use Deen and his vocals. They'll probably use him singing on at least one track on this new album, which apparently is the equivalent of a double album. No rush, I guess, on getting this album to market. The band is playing all classic songs except for The Way Things Used to Be. The band's touring lineup features bass player Todd Jensen, who I believe is a really strong bassist, and he's great on vocals. He also, I'm talking more harmony vocal and background vocal. A lot of people don't remember that Todd was in a band with both Neil and Deen called Hardline, in case you don't know about them, back in the early 90s. So Todd Jensen, Neil Sean, Deen Castronovo, all in one band. It's like a Hardline reunion. All you need is like Johnny Gioeli to show up, and that would be kind of a cool thing, huh? Maybe open for Journey and have all these guys get on stage. But Hardline has a completely different lineup now, other than Johnny, who's still in it. But it would have been a great, opening band, although nobody's really complaining about Toto, except some of the journalists who are, I guess, looking forward to Billy Idol. I think the Journey Toto pairing is more consistent than the Journey Billy Idol pairing, but that's just me. And if I'm a promoter, I think it's easier to promote Toto and Journey. And a lot of folks who've seen Journey probably haven't seen Toto, and I guess probably they hadn't seen Billy Idol either, but maybe they did. I don't know. As these bands get older, I guess putting different bands with different artists that probably back in the day you wouldn't have seen together, like the Pretenders, right, opened up for Journey, I think, on a few dates, or they were supposed to. So in any event, basically saying here that Narada didn't pan out. Those were his words, and they must have thought something wasn't quite right when it came to the live shows. And keep in mind, Narada is quite a bit older than Deen Castronova, so it's a pretty rigorous schedule. And I think physically and maybe even emotionally, you have to be ready for that. Also, the nuances which Cain was talking about, I think he was really trying to be, diplomatic, but obviously maybe Narada just couldn't get with the program, and hence he's not part of the live band, which I think is fine. Maybe he'll continue to work with the band in the studio, although the band only comes out with new albums every 10 or 11 years. So we may not be hearing any new Journey material after this for quite some time. This could be their last studio album. We don't know. I'm thinking there's really no reason for this band to record new music because radio here in the States just completely ignores it. All the classic rock stations will tell you, hey, Journey has a new album out. So how come you guys aren't playing anything from it? Last summer, you had this track, and even Jonathan Cain was complaining a little bit that, hey, this song came out and everybody kind of just ignored it. It got a decent amount of views on YouTube for that animated video. I don't think it went over 1 million. I think it probably is at like maybe 500,000 views, which isn't bad, but it's disappointing. And it shows, I think, the disconnect between, these casual Journey fans who just want to hear Don't Stop Believin', and the hardcore fans that have been around maybe since the very beginning, or at least since the 1980s, who are kind of hungry for some new Journey material. And again, everything is streamed now and nothing gets on the radio. So I think success is measured differently today than it was, 20 or 30 years ago. The sad thing is that Journey, compared to a lot of other bands in their age group, apparently are still going to be producing some really good music that many people are going to ignore, which again, I feel is completely wrong, but there's no support system for them other than themselves and these streaming platforms where the band isn't going to earn very much revenue from, being streamed 1,000 times a day or whatever. It's just not enough. Whereas Don't Stop Believin', the cash cow that continues to pay the rent and even help Steve Perry out to this day, not only as a songwriter, but a guy who's, again, going to get a portion of the band's touring revenue. What a deal, huh? Even today, I don't know how much of a percentage that is compared to what it was when it started, but man, that was a really smart maneuver by Steve Perry. In any event, that's the video. Narada, Michael Walden, he's not part of the touring band, and neither is Randy Jackson. And no word on Randy. It would be good for someone to ask the Randy Jackson question, because I think Randy is a great bassist and would have been a fine addition. Todd Jensen's doing a great job, but Randy Jackson, who was a member of Journey back in the 80s when Steve Perry fired the rhythm section back then, would have been a nice addition to the band, really delivering the bottom end with some soul and funkiness to it. But Todd's doing a great job. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. We got a new month in progress. So we lose some patrons, we gain some patrons. So if you'd like to become a patron, $1 a month, that's all I ask. If you want to do more, that's up to you. I know things aren't good out there. The economy not doing well, inflation through the roof. But if you can afford the $1 a month, I'd really appreciate that. All right, folks, I'll be back soon. See you then.